Stranger Things has come to an end, and here are my thoughts. I'm going to tell you what I enjoyed about the season and what I didn't enjoy about the season, and really all I ask is that you just hear me out before coming for me in the comments. Let's start with what I enjoyed about the season. I thought that this season had some really good moments for some of the characters, like Nancy and Jonathan's breakup, and Steve and Dustin's heart-to-heart while they're about to be killed by the effects of the unstable exotic matter in the Upside Down. Both groups, they thought that this was it for them, that they were going to die, so it was best for them to get everything out in the open. And thank God they did, because I don't think I could go another episode of having to watch Jonathan chase Nancy around like a sad little puppy. And I know for a fact that this strained father-son relationship was eating me alive. Another moment that really stuck with me was when Elle says her final goodbye to Hopper before going into the abyss. Throughout the entire show, Hopper has been fighting tooth and nail to keep this girl from doing anything reckless because he sees her as his daughter. And in this moment, he finally understands that in order for all of this to end, he needs to let her go. And he does. Another thing that I enjoyed was that sense of mystery was still there. We learned that the Upside Down is actually a bridge between Hawkins and Dimension X, and that Vecna plans to use that bridge to merge the two dimensions together. We also get a look into Henry's past and learn what connected him to Dimension X when he was a child. We also learn that Henry isn't being used by the Mind Flayer, and that he's actually just doing all of this for the love of the game. I like that there wasn't any unnecessary self-sacrifice, which is different from a character getting killed in cold blood, R.I.P. Callie. I'm talking about when a character sacrifices themselves and it ends up being completely pointless because it does nothing to stop the conflict. Now, there was a moment when I thought Murray was going to kamikaze himself into the helicopter when they were at the lab in the Upside Down during the finale, giving me flashbacks to one of the most pointless self-sacrifice scenes I've ever seen.
Come on, son of a bitch.
But thankfully, he just jumped up in the air to toss the explosive at the helicopter, saving the group. Now, we are to believe that Elle sacrificed herself at the end for the good of the group, but it's left up to the audience to decide which story they want to believe. And finally, I thought that the ending was sweet. The show ended the same way it began, with the group playing D&D. We get to see the kids finally graduate, Joyce and Hopper get engaged, and we get a glimpse into the future for each of the kids. Overall, I thought it was a sweet way to wrap up the series. Now let's get into what I didn't enjoy about this season. Starting with the obvious, the dialogue this season was very painful. Every plan was spelt out for the audience to the point where it felt like they didn't want us to actually use our brains to figure things out for ourselves. It almost seemed like the season was written for people who have never seen the show, which is weird because why would anyone decide to tune into a show during the last season? Make it make sense to me. Anytime they would talk about defeating Vecna, they would say something like, "We need to defeat him. We need to defeat Vecna. I know who you need to defeat. You don't have to spell it out for me every single time." Something that would have helped the dialogue would have been to age these characters up by a year or two. That 18-month time skip could have been extended, because let's face it, them being in school doesn't matter this season. They're supposed to be 16 this season, which is why some of the dialogue is the way that it is. But it's hard to make us believe that they're 16 when they look like grown men. Take Will's coming out scene, for example. It's a good scene, but with the way that it's written, it would have hit a lot harder if Will looked like this and not like a 22-year-old man. My next gripe is that there are too many characters and not enough stakes. This season, we are expected to follow 26 plus people while they look for clues on how to defeat him, how to defeat Vecna. And honestly, it got to a point where the main four kids started to feel like side characters in their own story. Hell, Joyce was basically sidelined until the very end of the final battle. It's like they were assembling the Hawkins Avengers to take this man down. Now, because there were a lot of characters this season, it felt lackluster that they didn't take any risks outside of killing Callie, a death that doesn't really hit as hard as killing off someone like Steve or Jonathan in the heat of battle would have, but instead, they decided to play it safe. The last thing that I didn't enjoy this season was the fan discourse. TikTok is ruining media for a lot of people because instead of watching an episode and forming their own opinion, people jump to TikTok to see what other people are saying and just follow the crowd. The TikTok comment section in itself is a hive mind of miserable people who don't know how to form an original thought of their own. A lot of the negative discourse I've seen about this season on TikTok are from people who aren't actually watching the show for enjoyment, which is what you should be doing. They're instead viewing it through the lens of a critic, watching it so that they can pick apart the negative aspects of the show so that they can make content. And half of these people aren't even paying attention. They're watching while on their phones and then start labeling their own personal questions as plot holes. Where's Susie? Bro, it is heavily implied that they broke up between seasons 4 and 5 because Dustin pushed people away after Eddie's death. Where's Argyle? The man lives in California. He is not moving to Hawkins. And what help would he be in this situation? Hell, I saw someone ask, what happened to Jason? What happened to Jason? He was torn in half when the ground in Hawkins split during season 4. Were you not watching? If you put your phone down and pay attention, you'll see that all of this is laid out in front of you, and trust me, you'll have a better time. Overall, I thought this season was fun and a good send-off for the kids. It's been a good 10 years in the making, and it's finally over. Even though that this show has its negatives, it has its positives, its ups, its downs, in 10 years it's going to be looked at as a cult classic. And those are my thoughts. What did you think? Let me know down below. Even if you didn't like it, it's fine, but let me at least know why you didn't like it. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.